Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. Today's tutorial kind of concludes the end of my cowgirl themed tumblers. This one is definitely more of a Western cowgirl themed versus the disco cowgirl tumblers that we've been working on the past couple of weeks. But I think that this one is probably my favorite out of all of the cowgirl tumblers I've done the past month or so. Everything you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, but don't forget to check out the description where I have all materials needed listed for you to complete this tumbler, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers. If y'all have any questions about this tutorial, feel free to ask in the comments and I will come back and answer them. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started on this tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, y'all, so the first thing we're going to do is spray paint half of our tumbler white. The bottom half is going to be vinyl wrapped, so there's no need to really paint that. And then I'm going to use these ColorFix paints by ColorFlex, which is also Artistry. We're going to use eggplant, poppy, petal pink, cinnamon donut, which is one of my favorite mustard yellows, and then we have white. So all of these colors are going to create our sunset. And then I have a few medium-sized brushes. So I'm going to start with my darkest color, which is the purple. I'm going to paint this all around the edge because I know that that top edge is going to be purple. And I am going to do 2 coats on this tumbler. One is going to kind of get the initial colors down, and then the second coat we are actually going to blend all of those colors together. And a tip for ColorFix, they are a paint and glitter glue combined into one, so sometimes the glue and paint can separate a little bit. So I like to put something in my bottles. I suggest a marble, but I did not have marble, so I just used a small rock from my geode box. It's just a small rock vase filler, just something heavy in the bottle that can incorporate the paint and glitter glue all together so that you get a nice consistency when you squirt it out of the bottle. So I went in with my red. I kind of created a little bit of a red section and then blended that into the purple. And then we are going in with a clean brush and I applied the pink, and this is going to be blended into the red. And then I'm going back with my first brush and we're just blending those sections a little. Then we're going in with our last clean brush for the yellow. And then I'm also going to use this one for my white. I don't need it stark white. I just want it a little bit lighter, so I'm not really too picky about if yellow blends into it. I just wanted a little bit of a color variation. And I'm just working with these paints until I'm pretty happy with the color separation. My aim is not to get a super soft ombre between the colors, but I do want a decent blend. So I'm going to set that aside, let it dry. I also use my heat gun. And after that first coat has dried, I'm going to go back in with the same colors and we're just going to give that a nice second coat and blend these colors a little bit better together. And that is one thing I love about Artistry's ColorFix paints, is that you can really blend these colors together to get a nice kind of gradient. I've used these paints for several hand painted cups that I've done, and they all work out great. So I am just basically going back and forth between the 2 colors that are on this brush. So this brush, I'm using it for the purple and the red. So I just went back and forth until I was happy. And now I'm going to do the same thing between the pink and the red. I just put a nice band of pink in the center And then I work my way up a little bit at a time and just blend that pink and red. And I'm wiping some purple off of this because I did need just a little bit more red to kind of come down into that pink. And I'm just kind of aiming for kind of that like choppy sunset that you see in a lot of kind of Western pictures or images. Where you kind of get streaks of color going through the sky. And now I'm coming down to my yellow section. We are going to do the same thing. We're just adding a band of yellow, and then I'm going to bring that yellow up into the pink. And then I'm going to take my pink brush and we're just going to bring that down into the yellow. And then on some parts, like you'll see here, half of my brush is pink and half of it is yellow. And I'm painting it kind of right in the center to help it blend better together. And I'm just going to work on this until I'm happy. I like the fact that the ColorFix paints stay pretty wet for quite a while, so you can go back and blend it multiple times. It's not going to flake off or gum up like some other paints may. And I got a little red up here. I don't know what I did. So I went back with my purple, covered that up. So here again, I'm mixing a little bit of my red and my pink just to get kind of a medium tone. And now for this one, I put a little bit of red and purple on a brush. So we're just going kind of back and forth between all of the brushes. And then when you're happy, we are going to set that to the side and let it dry. So I'm going to show you guys how I created this little image. These are just elements that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. They are all separate, and then I arranged them in silhouette, how I wanted them to look on my cup. And then I came up here and welded everything together so that now it was one big piece. Now, if there are separate elements like the little calf and cactus, they're not going to be welded. You do have to group those together. But after you weld it, group it together, and cut it out, it will be one big piece versus several individual pieces that you'll have to layer. So now we are going to cut out our vinyl. I love this vinyl. It is on thedrunkflamingo.com. I just love the flowers, and one of them has cow print on it, so it's super cute. And I just kind of measured the size that I needed for my cup. And y'all can look at my pretty mat while you wait. This mat is also from Artistry. I get asked all the time where I got it from. My code does work on their mats as well. So I'm going to take my cup cradle from Cami Page Boutique. I'm going to hold it against my tumbler and we're going to draw a straight line. This is to ensure that our vinyl will be straight when we apply it to our tumbler. So I'm going to kind of decide what side I want overlapped. I wanted that cow print flower to show. So I'm just cutting off a little bit of that backing. We are going to apply this vinyl straight on our cup. And then we're going to use this as a hinge just to make sure that everything lines up correctly before we just stick the whole vinyl sheet on our tumbler. There is nothing worse than crooked vinyl, wrinkled vinyl. We don't want any of that. And since this is not epoxied yet, I am putting my little towel in my cup cradle so the plastic does not scratch off the paint. And then I'm going to get my squeegee and smooth everything down. And when you're doing this, go slow. You want to make sure that you're not getting wrinkles or bubbles. And when we get to the edge, I was trying to decide where I wanted to cut this. So I just cut it straight up the middle. But y'all know I like to blend my seams. So we are going to save this piece of vinyl and I'm going to cut out these flowers. We're going to disguise that seam so it just looks like one solid piece. So after we cut these flowers out, I'm just going to remove it from the backing and we're just going to apply it right where we cut it. Super easy to do. Look how perfect that looks. Now you can't even tell that there was a seam there to begin with. So next, we're going to get our edging tool, also from Cami Page Boutique, and we're going to edge the bottom of our cup just to get a smooth vinyl line. We always want straight and clean rims. And next, we're going to get that decal that we just created. So I am just going to pick up the largest piece. This first section is one whole welded piece of vinyl. So that is what we are going to apply first. And I tested it on my cup, if you just saw, just to see if the transfer tape would lift up that paint, and it did not. So I did not feel the need to epoxy my tumbler beforehand. I do suggest testing that before because you don't want to apply this to your tumbler and then the transfer tape peel up your paint. But I did not have that issue. So again, I'm going to lay my cup in the cup cradle that also has a microfiber cloth. I'm just lining up my decal. And I am just smoothing one part on at a time, even though I did test this and it did not peel up paint. I did not want to push this down heavy on my cup and risk it sticking to the paint. So I just lightly pushed it down, and then once I removed the transfer tape, that's when I really pushed down all of that vinyl. And now I'm going to grab the other two little pieces that we had, our little cowboy. I'm just applying him with my tweezers. And then we're going to grab our cactus. And I didn't know where I was going to put him. I think I kind of moved him a couple different times, but ended up going with where I placed it originally. Decisions, y'all. Sometimes they're hard to make. Finally, I was like, whatever, we're just gonna put it where it was originally, and it's done. So after you're happy with this, I am going to add some little glitter streaks through the sky that kind of look like dark clouds that you may see during sunset, and apply our pinstripes. If you guys did not know, I do have a pinstripe file on thedrunkflamingo.com. It has all of my most popular sizes I use, which is the 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. And as you can see here, I typically print out 12 by 12 sheets at a time. That way I have lots of pinstripes to choose from. I have lots of different colors, so I can mix and match them and layer them if I need to, like I'm doing here. So I just decided to layer my gold on top of my black. I wasn't sure what sizes I wanted to use, so instead of applying them to my cup, I just did it on the vinyl sheet first to see if I liked it. And I just kept it classic with a black and gold combo for this cup. And we're just wrapping the layered vinyl pinstripes around the cup. And I saw a few pieces that I needed to weed still. Sometimes those little tiny spots can be hard to see. So now I'm going to get my Posca paint pen. These are the best paint pens. If y'all invest in anything, I definitely suggest investing in the Posca paint pens. I have had them forever. They do not clog. They last for a while. And I'm just going in and kind of adding details and shadows to all of our little elements that we have here. So I'm basically just adding kind of like little scribble lines. I'm really not thinking about it too much. We're just adding little lines under here. And then I kind of felt that the top part of the tumbler needed a little something, so I'm going in with glitter glue and this kind of slate black gray glitter that I have. This is Starry Night. And I'm just using a needle nose bottle to apply my glitter glue. I'm just doing very skinny glue lines, kind of the same way that I did the shadows underneath all of our little elements. You don't want to make them too thick because then your lines will be a lot thicker. Because you have to think that when you're applying your glitter, it's going to stick to all sides of the glitter glue lines that we apply. So even if you make thin glue lines, it's going to be thicker with all of the glitter attached to it. And I'm just kind of adding these all over. There's no rhyme or reason. So now it kind of looks like those dark clouds that you may see in the dusk sky. And after the glitter glue dries, I'm going to brush everything off and then seal it with Rust-Oleum 2 times. I try to only spray the top half and not the pinstripes because sometimes the clear spray paint can react with the metallic vinyl and cause it to kind of curl up on the sides, and we definitely don't want that to happen. And my epoxy of choice is Artistry's Fast Set. To me, I get the best finish with their epoxy. Their Fast Set has little to no odor, and it can be used as a top coat. I just get the best finish with it as well. And I've used them for probably about 1.5 years exclusively. I just really like their products. So we are going to epoxy this 2 times, and then we are going to rim our cup. This one is not the best example of how I do this because it did sit for a few days, so that epoxy was pretty hard. But typically I will wait maybe a few hours after my epoxy has cured. I will run the rim under hot water just to soften that edge up a little bit. And then I will go around the top with my Cami Page Boutique edging tool, and we will get all of that epoxy off of the rim. This one did need a little help because even though it did cut through that epoxy was still adhered to the tumbler because I had let it sit for so long. So I just used my blade to kind of loosen it from the edge. It wasn't that big of a deal. It just wasn't as easy as it normally is for me. So once you get all that epoxy off of your rim, if there's any spray paint remaining, we are just going to take some acetone and our microfiber cloth or whatever you use, and we're just going to clean that rim really well, get all that spray paint off. So then we have a nice clean rim. So when we apply our final coat of epoxy, we are 100% sure that everything is sealed in. We're not going to have glitter poking out from underneath the seal or glitter glue or vinyl or anything like that. It's just going to be nice and smooth. After I clean my rim, I will add an additional coat of epoxy to seal everything in, and these are the finished pictures. I love how this cup turned out. I love the sunset. I love the Western floral vinyl and the little cows. I think they're super cute. If you guys decide to give this cup a try, please post in my group because I love to see what you guys come up with, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group, my Damn Fancy tribe, or the Drunk Flamingo glitter groups that are all on Facebook and linked in the description. Thanks for watching.